All right, welcome to the next episode of Rock Ain't Pretty.
Rock ain't pretty.
It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. I am Doug Blessing from Rock House. I believe this is episode 4 officially, and we have our friends Angela and Josh Kulo from the Pretty Filth in the house. What's up, guys?
What's up, Doug? How you doing, brother?
Good. I'm still recovering from our Cinco de Mayo episode, to be honest with you guys.
I made the mistake of having to work the next day, and when I got out of bed, I fell into the fucking wall and had to grab the wall. And I'm like, no, this can't be happening. So
what an
I took
absolute
about a
mess.
20-minute shower. It was insane.
I mean, watching that back was a riot because we were obviously like, oh my gosh, I was a space cadet on that whole thing.
It was fantastic.
Tons of fun though. The watch party turned out great.
The watch party is so much fun.
A lot of fun, and didn't something stem from that watch party? Don't we have something interactive we're gonna be?
Thank you, Josh, for reminding us. So those of you that are tuning in for our watch party tonight, this is the very first interactive episode of Rock Ain't Pretty. So we had our Rock Ain't Pretty bingo sheets available for download. We happened to notice, actually my wife Renee happened to notice that myself and Josh and Angela have some key phrases and words that we throw out pretty commonly, and we put them on a bingo sheet. So for those of you playing along at home tonight, you can cross it off as you see fit.
Oh my God, we should make it a PDF so people can print it off at home.
Yeah, I actually put it in a format where if you print it off, it should be in letter format, and it'll, like, I print this off the picture, and it came out in a perfect sheet of paper.
Nice.
So
that
should be good to go.
Fantastic.
Yes, and I don't know, Angela, what are we giving away for a prize? Are you doing like a free hair dye, or what are we doing here?
Are you insane? This times that's $2 million. Fucking crazy.
We'll send them a glossy 8x10. Glamour shots, and we'll do prom pose.
But your first one you get to scratch off would be White Claw. Tonight is the mango.
All right.
Look at my cute leopard print koozie.
You're the only person I know actually that has those. I've had a couple people ask me where you got those White Claw koozies out of. You're the only person I know that has those.
Because that's all I do is just search for stupid shit to purchase.
That's right.
If it's made by small Malaysian children, Angie owns it.
That's right.
And as for
I'm the reason there's a coronavirus.
It got smuggled over here in a case of White Claw koozies from a sweatshop just outside.
I love it. And as for, she said that you could already check off one of the bingo spaces. That's not true, because we did figure out that my favorite word is fuck. So we went ahead and gave that as your free space in the middle of the bingo board. That is a free space. That way.
Look, now you already have 2 somebody is in the lead.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Amazing.
So Josh, you're drinking something new tonight. And actually, that's something I've never seen before. What do you got there?
It's PBR hard coffee. And to be honest with you, in the immortal words of Sean Pruden, it is alcoholic yoo-hoo.
Alcoholic yoo-hoo. That sounds delicious.
It's insane. You literally can't taste alcohol at all. I mean, it just tastes like you're drinking an iced coffee from Starbucks, literally poured over ice. And it's great. So, I mean, who doesn't love yoo-hoo? Now you throw in some alcohol, a little 5% in there, and you're loving life.
That's fantastic. Well, I'm drinking Elvis juice again. And actually tonight, I've got... I'll tilt my computer. If you see, like, back in the, it's kind of back in the corner. I actually built I'm in my garage. I actually have a koozie dispenser that I built on my wall. What did you ask me? What did you ask me?
Is that your dong?
Oh.
Your fucking microphone looks like a big Johnson.
Oh yeah. Hey, I want to comment on that real quick. So I'm going for a much less phallic approach tonight for the microphone. Like last week, I think I had it like this, you know? So I'm going for,
it might be worse
I'm going for the much less phallic view tonight. So if you have any suggestions.
Oh my God,
just always be really close to the tip, buddy.
I always am. Buddy.
Audiences, so I think it's good.
All right. So I actually have a koozie dispenser on the wall back there that I built. So when we get new koozies, I put them in the top, and that way they flow down, so you're always using a new koozie.
Oh,
Oh my
wow.
God.
So tonight,
That's
I drew out the crazy lazy 80s weekend from Lazy Acres from 2 years ago
Wow.
when
Awesome.
Rock House opened for Great White, and that was a fun weekend. It was a hell of a weekend.
That's
Oh my
super
God,
cool, dude.
that's so awesome.
Yeah, it was
That's
fun.
awesome.
I love those people. I miss Jeannie and Amy and Gail and Jeff and Mickey and
I want to
Carrie.
live there, I think.
Dude,
Yeah, I
seriously,
know
the
exactly.
first time I
Someday
went
I'll be out there
I was
living with
like,
those guys.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, first time I went out there, I'm like, yeah, we could settle down here and just like have this be our place, man. It's
It was.
amazing.
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
but I
I
want a
know.
koozie dispenser too. So come over and give us one.
When you,
Ours are
when you,
just ours
you
are
guys-
literally just in bags, and we have as much of the shit that I buy. I have 50 million koozies. of
yeah,
all types.
same here. We get a koozie everywhere we go. So we had a trash bag full of koozies in the garage, and Renee came up with the idea. She's like, "Can you build something where like kind of like a dispenser?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll try something." So yeah, I just took some wood and a piece of plexiglass and made a koozie dispenser.
That's
So
awesome,
Oh my
dude.
God.
yeah, it's fun.
There you go.
Hey, speaking of Lazy Acres, you guys are playing at Lazy Acres this summer. When are you guys scheduled to play out there? What's your date out there?
That's a lot of pressure, Doug. I have to look at a calendar.
We
for
believe
that.
so. It's July 11th. So,
July 11th.
So fingers crossed, and I'm hoping, especially out there, because they can definitely do some spacing out. So so I think it is such a good time. We had so much fun last year, and last year, my God, I think it was like 99 degrees when we were out there.
Oh, it was so fun though. So
awesome.
much fun.
It's so much fun.
It was. They're so hospitable, and just that whole group of people. They've never met a stranger. So everyone. I mean, hell, you were there. I mean, you experienced it before we did. I mean, when people are sitting there throwing burgers and brats on the grill at 3 a.m. for you,
God,
and just partying all night long, and
that Rumplemints and Hershey's.
Oh God. Oh,
Yeah.
I know Doug probably doesn't remember any of that.
I was in such bad shape the next day. I'm doing those
you
shots.
you were bad that night, dude.
Bad shape. But you guys are there July 11th. The following weekend is Hairball is playing there, which I know all of us here in Ohio. Oh yeah, they're amazing. I've seen them so many times.
Dude.
So good.
Incredible. Hairball will be the July 18th. Rock House will be there Labor Day weekend. And a lot of other great bands in between. All of our favorite bands are all playing out there, all of local bands. I saw they have an Eagles tribute band coming this year.
Eagles,
so awesome. Dude.
Love the Eagles.
Hey, who's the guy who passed away from the Eagles?
Yeah, right. Who is it? All right. Anyway, we'll move on, Angela. Yeah, we didn't plan that, did we, Josh? We had to sneak that in there. I need to add Don Henley to the bingo sheet.
Oh my God, that was the worst. I felt terrible. It like haunted me for like a whole 24 hours.
Yeah. So check it out, guys. I know that we're trying not to COVID these episodes too much, but I think it's worth discussing that I think we need to chat a little bit about tonight about the stadium tour. Like just give our thoughts on the stadium tour. I know that we all saw that they made an announcement last week that they're going to make like the official announcement on June 1st of what's going to happen with the stadium tour. Give me your thoughts. What do you guys think is going to happen with this thing?
They need to cancel. So I don't even think they should postpone. I think they need to cancel. We were talking about this just a few minutes ago. Bon Jovi and Bryan Adams were going on tour this year.
Which, real quick, that's a cool show. I've never seen Bryan Adams. I think Bryan Adams opening up for Bon Jovi would be a great show.
Yeah, same here.
And we discussed earlier, I think in a couple episodes ago, about what a humanitarian John Bon Jovi has become. And he immediately canceled their tour, and he wrote out on Facebook, "I'm doing this so people can get their money back from their vendors so they can pay bills and do what it takes." And that to me I know that there's a lot more involved than just the artists. but sorry, my hand was flailing. But this is hard times, and us personally, I mean, we've spent thousands on this tour, so we're going to 2 shows and primo seats, and if it's not going to happen, I want my money back. So let's just be done with it.
Yeah,
I can sit out there in the pavilion and play Motley all day long.
I'm in the mindset that I know there's a lot of people out there that are hurting, so I think canceling is doing the right thing. In saying that, I am selfish. I think this was a phenomenal lineup. and I truly, truly hope they do throw this back together next year. But yeah, this year it's obviously not going to happen. It doesn't even make sense. So just be done with it. I mean, I'm sure there's some fine print in those contracts where some of the, these bands are still going to make a few $million just because they signed a piece of paper 6 months ago. So just be done with it and cancel it. And like Ange said, I hope they don't postpone, because I don't think postponing is realistic. You have so many people that are talking about postponing.
Yeah.
And again, I think we lose sight of the fact that these shows are being played in Major League Baseball diamonds or the Browns football stadium, and you just got to really watch that with crossing over and doing stuff like that. So I think the best thing to do is not postpone it, go ahead and cancel it, and hopefully just rip it out next year and see what happens.
Yeah, I ride the fence, but I mean, for selfish reasons, obviously, I'd still like to see it go on. But we were talking to obviously I was going to meet up with you guys in Cleveland, and we had our friends Joey and Janelle, who you guys know, coming with us to Cleveland. And I was like, you know what? If it's going to be one of those things where you walk in and like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Yeah. They cut down the concession lines and all that stuff because they don't want you to do it. And they're whatever. I was like, if everything's gonna be changed because they're trying to make it safe, then I'd just rather not do it at all. And one of the things that I think is gonna make them cancel it, I may have talked to you guys about this offline last week. I was like, what happens? What are they gonna do about the people that, let's say they don't cancel it? What are they gonna do about the people that are just like, well, I don't want to go now. Yeah. I don't feel safe going. So how are they going to make that designation about what they're going to do about those people? So it's for that reason, I think alone, that they'll cancel it, because they're like, we're not going to be able to make everybody happy if it still goes on, because it's going to be half the people in a 18,000 seat place are going to say that they either don't feel safe going and don't want to go at all, or they're going to want some kind of restriction in place that we can't control. So I think they'll cancel.
Well, we're hitting that age where some of the people that'll be at the show are in this.
They shouldn't be there already. Right.
So let's see.
Exactly.
So we like to offend tree trimmers, and we like tree
trimmers and cutters.
And
we have
who else do we like to offend?
Our local thieves union. We had the thieves union represented last week.
Guild Thieves Guild. I'm sure we've offended plenty of grits, and now we're going to add
the Thieves Guild.
We're going to start adding the old people to our list.
That's right. Those of you, but yeah, the Columbus Thieves Guild is one of my, I hope they're being well supported during these times.
Like you said, though, I mean, I'm all about the restrictions. I'm in the mindset, just in life in general, of everyone taking this slow and trying to do the right thing and being patient with everything. But when it comes to a concert, like you said, Doug, how are they going to keep that safe per se? You can't do it, because to do it, you're going to cut down. You're going to cut down on alcohol sales. Well, how else do they pay these bands? They pay these bands from alcohol sales.
Yeah, so, and you know what might be safe to what's that, Ange?
And ticket sales. These tickets were bananas.
Yeah, they were bananas. They were wild expensive. I mean, I say, you guys, we're only going to one show, and I'm already in for over $1,000 just between the tickets and the hotel room that we booked.
Yeah.
Well, we have tickets for $5 for the July show, because we're taking the kids too, and then we have tickets in August too.
So hey, I wanted to ask you guys a question. I hope you may or may not know the answer to this, and there may not be an answer to it. So I'm gonna share a couple photos with you guys here. So check this out. So you guys can see that, right? So this is the ad for the stadium tour. Yeah. And if you saw this, who would you say is the headliner of that?
Motley
Crue, right? So if you go, so that came from Motley Crue's page, and that came from Joan Jett's page.
Yeah,
if you go on Def Leppard's page or Poison's page, it looks like this.
Yep.
So I never thought to ask anybody, and actually my buddy Joey, who you guys know, Archie calls him Joe Dockin. My buddy Joey, who I go to most of my concerts with, he asked me the other day, he's like, hey, who is the headliner? And I was like, shit, I don't know. Who is that? They flip-flopping it?
Yeah, and there's some nights where
some nights Joan Jett's the headliner.
No. There's some nights where Def Leppard, it's not a legit every other. I know there's a couple couple of times where it's Motley 2 times in a row or Def Leppard 2 times in a row.
Okay.
But what they did was they made sure they split it down the middle so they have an even number of headlining shows.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so Pittsburgh is Motley, Cleveland is Def Leppard. I know that the LA show is Motley, and again, I think that that's part of the contract. I mean, if they were playing in the UK, Def Leppard would be, headlining. But when you play in Los Angeles, no one's going to headline over Motley.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
true.
I know as long as they had an even amount of shows, I know that it wasn't necessarily in every other night.
Yeah,
and as for the Joan Jett and Poison, I don't know about that. I did not hear about them flopping back and forth. But I don't. She
should be though.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
But she's fantastic. Have you seen her?
Actually, I have never seen Joan Jett ever.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my God.
I know. I was excited about that too.
She's got a shit ton of plastic surgery. She's got like Kenny Rogers level. Kenny Loggins has shitty plastic surgery.
Hey, Kenny, you can throw that. Kenny Loggins has had a little work done. You can leave that in there. She's got like Kenny Loggins. She's got like Kenny Loggins like brow line, but Kenny Rogers eyes. So But
it's like where that face is so spread out that you're like, what is going on here? She almost alien-like, but she sounds fantastic, and she still, for the most part, looks amazing.
Still Joan Jett, she's a badass. What can you say?
You know who looks really attractive is Vince Neil.
That he is. So I thought we might have a little bit of fun with that tonight because, well, you know what, Josh? You know what made me think of it is that, for those of you that have watched any of our episodes, Josh was talking a little bit about his first concert that he went to on the Girls tour at Legend Valley. Strangely enough, just by sheer coincidence, we went for a bike ride earlier this week. Renee and I did with my buddy Joey, who lives over in Hilliard, and we went back to his house. And while I was getting out of a beer, he was like, "Hey, have you seen this?" And he pulled up on YouTube, and I didn't think it was Legend Valley, and I'll tell you why, Josh, because the way they had the stage laid out with all the amps, it didn't look like the Legend Valley stage that I remembered.
Yeah.
So I thought it was Beulah Park. I thought it might have been from Beulah Park, but I sent it to Josh and I said, "Hey man, where's this concert from? Have you seen this?" And Josh's like, "That's the concert I was at. I have the video of that. It's Motley Crue at Legend Valley."
I remember he bought that on eBay.
That's amazing.
Bootleg on eBay like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was like, now you can find anything. But 20 years ago, when he found that, like from I think one of the roadies or something, he's like, "This is the greatest thing."
It was done from the soundstage, and because you remember back in the day, like in the back of Hit Parader and Circus, there were ads for bootlegs, and it was just people's stuff that they had collected. And I literally reached out to a guy because I remember vividly it said Motley Crue 87 Buckeye Lake, and I'm like, "You gotta be shitting me."
That's amazing.
So even 20 years ago, I think it cost me $40, which to me, I would have paid $1,000.
But it seemed like $200. I was like, $40 for some VCR.
So I get this DVD. And I should have brought it up. I get the DVD and the covers, the cartoonish Alistair Fiend set up. And I put it in, and I swear to God, dude, brought tears to my eyes.
That's fantastic.
It was amazing. Man. And then
awesome.
I got to share that with my kids and have my kids watch the first concert I ever attended in '87. It was epic, dude. So as soon as you showed me that link, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know that one."
You should watch the whole thing if you can, because
we did. I did. I watched the whole thing all the way through.
Oh,
yep.
You can do like they're doing crowd scanning, and just to see like people in that authentic look. It's hysterical. There was a Judas Priest concert that was on Facebook from like it was probably like 1985 or 1986, but they went out into the parking lot and they're like talking to people, and it was the greatest video because it didn't even have anything to do with the concert, just the people partying, and literally because you don't really have that much footage of people back then in that elephant.
No
they're like, "Hey man, Judas Priest." Everybody's got long hair and their Marlboro Reds hanging out of their mouth. It was fantastic. It was awesome. I loved it.
Well, it was just like Josh described it. I think you said there's drug dealers, topless women, whatever, but you can see it all.
Blowjobs. That's what.
Yeah, right. They're giving out BJs in the parking lot. It was great. It was great. And I saw they had like the inflatable motorcycle over on the side. You know, there's a couple of times it panned over to the right, and you can see the big inflatable Harley that they had.
And they started that tour. They started with the stripper song. I forget the actual title of that song, but it's the whole stripper song they started with, which was pretty cool. And it just, I mean, just a phenomenal show. And again, to see them, you know, not to harp on it too much, but just see the energy. And granted, half of it was fueled by heroin, but I mean, it was epic, dude. It's just it was tough. It was tough to beat Motley in their heyday.
I'll tell you what, was Nikki Sixx was pale as a ghost in that video. Pale as a ghost. He was so thin, and he was just sheet white pale. Oh yeah,
oh, big time, dude. He was giving T-Bone a run for his money.
No doubt. Well, I was so after I saw that, you know, and you know, we had some texting back and forth. I like, you know, let's catch up a little bit about our boy Vince. And obviously, we have a huge affinity for Motley Crue. And the guys in Motley Crue, you know, Motley Crue is one of those bands where it's the guys, man. They're just such huge personalities, man. Absolutely. All of them. Yeah. Even though Mick Mars, you don't ever hear him say a fucking word. There's no one else like Mick Mars, man. He is like, really. Yeah, he's a fucking rock star, by the way, right, guys? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I mean,
not Bruno Mars, Mick Mars.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands out there that are just about the lead singer or just about the guitarist or the drummer. And Motley is one of the few bands where I think even the casual fan can name all of the members. Right. And not everyone can do that. You see you see people wearing their White Snake t-shirt. Cool, dude. Name someone in the band.
They're like, I love Pour Some Sugar on Me by White Snake.
Exactly. I mean, you know, and I think most people would get David Coverdale, but most people couldn't get much further than that. So you're absolutely right. When it comes to Mick Mars, no one's gonna say he's the next Eddie Van Halen, but the guy's a badass.
He is a personality, man. He is a force to be reckoned with for a lot of different reasons, you know. Yeah, exactly.
And they were good looking. I mean, I know nobody likes to harp on it around here, but good looking people are successful. I mean, they were beautiful.
Well, and Mick, and one time we saw Motley and Mick actually gave Ange a little winky wink and a little smile. And,
I was depressed. The only lead singers I've ever gotten, or the only people I've ever gotten acknowledged was Mick Mars at I think it was in Cincinnati. It must be a Cincinnati thing. And then David Coverdale, who literally looks like a chewed up raisin, literally was like eyeballing me in the front row. And it I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I was like, oh God.
David Coverdale, he probably wanted to know if you'd wanted to hang out with his granddaughter. He's like, I need somebody to go backstage and hang out with my granddaughter.
Like, hey.
Well, let's talk a little bit about our boy Vince. So I pulled a couple pictures off here. So you know, this is the Vince. Yeah, I mean, that's the Vince that, like, you know, I mean, that's the Vince that we love. You know, we love Vince all around. But this is
those outfits were too.
I know, so badass, right?
Yes.
So you know, and we you know, people love to have a lot of fun with Vince, and unfortunately, you know, he hasn't done himself any favors, and he leaves it open. But I think this is the picture that this is the picture that like was like this was the one that probably circulated the most, right?
Dude, look at his giant liver coming out of his body. I mean,
I know.
That's not good.
If you look closely, you can almost see a cheeseburger in there somewhere, right?
Well, but what's upsetting? What's even more upsetting is, like, he carries it in his face and his belly. Yeah. His legs are still small and his arms aren't big. So it's like weird because he carries it just in his middle. It makes my soul hurt.
But more importantly, I mean, he obviously had a toothache and he was going to have that pulled by that nice elf up at the North Pole.
Silver and gold. Silver and gold. So,
I sent you the pictures from Easter, which was just, 3 weeks ago? The pictures from Easter, and he does not look like he has shed an ounce.
Yeah.
He had a full spread of his hamburgers and his carafe of red wine. And I think he's like, sweet, coronavirus, I'm in Nashville. I don't have to.
So we had,
so I'm good.
So we had a,
and his ab workout.
I know, the ab workout, which yeah, you can almost see me getting fit just while I'm doing that.
I mean, it embarrassed me. Like, come on.
It was hard to look at.
We had a discussion with Archie, our buddy from QFM, who was on a couple weeks ago, and oh geez, it was right at the end of 2018, going into 2019, and he and I both agreed that 2019 was going to be Vince's year to get back in shape. And then obviously he lost his mom last year, which would be tough on any of us. And I mean, he was in worse shape coming out of last year than he was going in, unfortunately. Yeah. So what do you guys think he can pull this off and get himself back in shape?
No. I don't think he wants to. I think he could. But I don't think he's made any, it's not a secret that he loves his life. He loves gambling. He loves his red wine. He loves playing his solo shows where he has to sing 9 songs.
And only about 1/3 of the lyrics of each one.
Think of performing a show and you sing 9 songs.
Yeah.
And you're done.
I mean,
that'd be a piece of cake.
The rest of the backup band, which is Slaughter, they sing. They do like an 11 to 15 minute set of Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath. So I don't think he's made any qualms about that. He's living his best life, and he does not give a shit about.
Stop showing it. It makes me
about
sad.
Anybody else.
He looks like somebody out of the Wizard of Oz.
But I mean,
crazy.
When we talk about rescheduling this show or canceling it and bringing it back, whatever. I'm not concerned about Vince. They can roll Vince out and he can blurt out some words. But Mick Mars is the one that scares me. It's like I thought
Mick was going to be dead 15 years ago.
I don't want to be there the night that he goes down because it's going to happen. I don't want to be there that night.
And Doug, you know that we went out to California last March. It was St. Patrick's Day last March. We went out to the Fontana Speedway or whatever.
Yeah, the NASCAR race. Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
just got the keys to that city. Did you guys see that?
No.
This weekend, Sammy Hagar just got the keys to Fontana, California.
Cool. So,
little trivia. Anyway, so we went out there, and Mick. I mean, because we're super close to the stage, and they all reunited because the dirt was coming out that next week. And Mick literally, like, it hurt my body to watch him slow. I mean, he can barely move. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, it is crazy. Motley is having a dirt watch party, kind of like we do our interactive parties. They're showing the dirt on May 15th, I believe, and May 15th, and
it's an interactive.
It's an interactive on
Twitter.
They
essentially stole our watch party idea.
They did. And I apologize. I had the ad for that loaded, but I don't see it in my picture file here. But yeah, so it's this Friday night, May 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
And you can get online and watch the dirt movie. You watch the movie with the cast, right?
And the actors and some of the people. So I assume Nikki will probably be on there because I feel like he is the whole thing behind the dirt.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know about Vince, but
Vince won't.
Yeah, Nikki's kind of the engine. Well. Yeah, and Nikki seems to be the most that's still kind of like out there and staying active in the media and stuff like that as much as he can. Yes. So you guys, I mean, it's pretty cool that actually you guys and myself, not that far apart from each other, got to meet Vince Neil, which was like meeting. There's nothing cooler than meeting like one of the people that you've idolized your whole life,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I have the picture of when you guys met him. I know like probably, most of your friends have heard the story, but you guys want to share the story a little bit about when you guys met Vince?
Yes, look at him. Look how cute we are.
I know, that's a great picture.
He is. This was the day after, the very next day after he got in that fight with Nicolas Cage in Las Vegas. And we were in Vegas to see Guns N' Roses, their first show back. And that was 5 years ago, I think?
Something like that, yeah.
Crazy. But so we went to Vegas to see Guns N' Roses, and we went to Tatuada. What's it called? It's called Vince Neil's Tatuada. And we went there at Circus Circus, which Circus Circus is horrifying, totally.
Oh, yeah, it's a little scary. It's like grid heaven from a Las Vegas.
It really is.
Well, but now it's
if the Grits open their own casino. Well,
except this one was like not even. This was kind of like the Walmart on Morse Road, like.
Well, whatever do you mean?
So anyway, it was
no tree cutters.
So anyway, we went, and we just went to go see the bar, and the bar is gorgeous because it is from head to toe. Motley pictures, like wallpaper. It's amazing, everything they've ever done. And then they're like, yeah, Vince is going to be here for this boxing thing. And we're like, shut your fucking face. and it was amazing. And you would have thought he was the president. For us, everybody, some people are eating in there and had no idea who the fuck he was.
Yeah, right, which is scary in its own right,
Yes.
you know? Right.
It was crazy.
It was super cool though, because we didn't know what to expect, but we also knew this is a kind of a once in a lifetime thing. So we're going to seize it. So literally when he walked in with Rain and a couple of his buddies, I didn't hesitate, dude. I literally started dodging through people's tables as they were eating their food, walked right up to him, dude, gave him a big hug, shook his hand. And again, you know this as well as we do. If you act like you've been there before, it just kind of flows naturally. Yeah. And he didn't hesitate. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Like we were buddies. So then everyone's staring and stuff. And then, so he gets by me and then Rain comes up next. Rain's like, oh, hey, how are you? Good to see you. And I'm like, you've never met me before, but hey, it was just, it was super cool. And then, to have the opportunity to actually meet him and get the pictures. And we were psychotic. I mean, we were
absolutely.
How can you not be?
It's crazy. Yeah. We're the second couple to go in for meet and greets, and he's sitting at his little Vince Neil round table in his little
round table.
His little cove. And the best part of the whole thing is there is an English couple who is literally an English Josh and Ange. Okay, so they go in first.
Sweet.
So they're like, so we're standing in line with them, and he's like, "Oh my God, did you say it's Vince Neil? He's all there!" I mean, I'm telling you, it was amazing because he was like, "Oh my God!" And so we're flipping out, and then literally after Josh and I go in, so then we go in to meet him. And Vince, I mean, imagine that. Like you were obviously on some bender the night before that you're fist fighting. Carrot Top and Nicolas Cage. And then you meet us like he's hungover. So after he meets us, they get on the loudspeaker and they're like, we're now only going to be meeting in groups of 10. He's like, no more of this one-on-one shit.
Yeah, right. You guys are occupying him for like an hour. You know, he's like, I got to get out of here at some point, you know?
It was so good. Hey, Doug, check your phone real quick. I just sent you something.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. But no, so meeting Vince was
okay.
amazing.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. And talk to us about the time you got to meet him.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will just show a quick picture of it. I wish the way I met him was as organic as the way you guys met him.
I'm sad. Your picture makes me sad.
Yeah. So what year was it when you guys met him? Was that 2015?
Must have been, yeah.
15. Yeah, okay. So I met him in 2016. And it was I was at the Hair Nation tour. It wasn't a tour, it was a Hair Nation festival out in LA. Yeah. And it was I actually got my picture taken with Vince and Vince and Bret Michaels at the same time.
Short hair.
Which was
Vince's
insane.
hair is what my hair looks like right now.
So obviously I had paid for the ultimate VIP experience out there. Yeah. I got to meet so many incredible artists. I mean, you know, Extreme, Lita Ford, LA Guns, Yngwie,
incredible.
You know, I mean, they were all there, man. It was Vixen, you know, I could go on anyway.
Sure.
But so after you went through like the regular meet and greet stuff, which was at a table, they sent you up a stairway, and I got up there. And when those two guys walked out together, I was like, I watched for a minute and I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to get my picture taken with both of them at the same time. I mean, I lost it. I was like, oh my God, this is two of my all-time favorite rock frontmen of my whole life. I'm going to get my picture taken with both of them, you know?
So awesome, dude.
And look at Bret. Bret is so perfectly poised and posed. Yeah.
And
Vince is like, hey, what's everybody doing? He's like,
I should have
got a hoodie on.
I should have pulled a couple of pictures from you guys. So that what they did was, you can see a little bit of the logo in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
What they did was, you know, you couldn't use your own camera. They took the picture and then they downloaded it on their Facebook page.
Right.
And then you had to just go up there and pull it off. So there were some pictures on there that were just hilarious, where it would be like 2 or 3 women that went up to get their picture, and all 3 of them were all hugged up around Bret Michaels, and none of them were they were just completely ignoring Vince Neil. It was terrible. I felt so bad. But there were other ones where the guys were like with Vince, like, you know, with the rock fingers up, you know, and not paying any attention to Bret Michaels. Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy about your whole Hair Nation thing? Is that Rainbow documentary when that was filmed, if you watch that documentary again, in the background on all the billboards on Sunset Strip are the advertisements for that Hair Nation festival.
I noticed that actually. Yep. I did totally notice that when I saw the billboard right above the rainbow, the big billboard that's right above the building was a Hair Nation ad.
Yes.
I noticed that. Yep. I totally noticed that. Well, we could talk about that all night, but I thought it was funny because obviously we, that's I think one of the great things about rock and roll period is that everybody has funny stories about concerts. Everybody has funny stories about stuff they've done at shows, in parking lots, waiting in line for concerts. People like us who have been playing music around Columbus have tons of funny stories about gigs that we've played and some of the places we played and the interesting characters we've seen. And we were going to get one of the rock and roll greats from here in Columbus to join us tonight. You guys down with that?
Yes,
absolutely.
The legend.
The man, the myth, the legend.
So I just sent over an invite to I'll tell you, Josh, you introduce him. You guys know him a lot better than I do. So
the best way to introduce this guy is to think of Eddie Van Halen, but much better. Much better hair. Just exudes sex. I mean, Eddie's good, but this guy, when it comes to guitar, I mean, Eddie's a solid number 2 to this guy. And again, just the sexual prowess. I mean, I think anyone who watches knows that I'm talking about the incomparable Matt Bradley.
Matt Bradley. So while we're waiting for Matt to join, like I said, we've talked about Matt just in passing on I think probably every episode we've done so far at some point or another, which is hilarious. His name comes up every time.
But is he on the bingo board?
He's almost like
he is on the bingo board. Yeah, for those of you playing at home. But Matt, for guys like myself who've been going, I've been going to see live music around Columbus since the late 80s, since 86.
Yeah.
And Matt's he's been a fixture in the Columbus music community since the 80s. And I've seen him play with a half a dozen bands, and including yours when he's filled in when you guys needed someone to fill in.
Yeah.
And but I love watching Matt play because Matt is the Columbus version of Eddie Van Halen as far as I'm concerned. And I love his style, and I love the fact that he's obviously so passionate about all the music that we grew up listening to. So.
Oh, big time!
For sure.
He's got tons of great stories, and I mean he's just been doing it for a long time. Between him and his buddy Sean Pruden, they've been in the scene since they were teenagers, literally. And it was funny because he's connecting now, but it was funny because the night he played with us, he just kept bringing all these guitars in, and I'm like, bro, how many guitars do you have? And he's like, well, if you guys didn't have so many different goddamn tunings, I wouldn't need to bring 5 guitars.
And my favorite part too is and then along with his guitars, he has a brush that sat up on his amp for his hair, which was amazing.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I might have a picture of that. Oh, let me see if where is that picture?
This is what rock stars do on their breaks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If they're gonna have somebody do it, they might as well have someone that knows hair, right?
Isn't that hysterical?
Yeah, that's
absolutely
great.
Love it.
That's like the royal rock star treatment right there.
All right, so here he comes. Here, let's see. I'm gonna see if I can get him joined in here. Let's see.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, all right. Well, he looks great tonight.
Matt, you look awful fucking sexy tonight, buddy.
Yeah, he is.
I was just saying how sexy you were, but this is exceeded.
Yeah, he's a good-looking woman.
Is this where you're going to figure out how to do connect a video?
Yeah, we're going to get.
What the fuck I'm doing?
I
got Gigi shutting up.
Video part. You did it.
Yeah.
Hey, there he is. All right.
Yeah. Wow. Rock ain't pretty.
Never is.
How do you have a cool background?
I know.
It's amazing. Look at you.
Hey, all right.
I used it for work. I'm out.
I love it.
I told her she was going to try and take over the whole thing.
I can put filters on him too.
Oh my
Make me
God,
look pretty.
epic. Hey, so did you hear my intro for you?
No, man. I no.
Terrible.
He's like, no,
Was it
no,
terrible?
no.
So I introduced you as the rock god. Eddie Van Halen is a strong number 2 to you.
You're funny.
But more importantly, I talked about just the way you exude your sex appeal.
Oh, yeah. Used to.
He's like,
Ain't got no more.
how you doing?
I'm good, man. I had a busy day. Had to go jump start the car for my daughter and
Oh wow.
work. Normal day.
Life.
Are you drinking? Are you drinking?
Yes, sir. You having
what are you
beverage?
drinking tonight, Matt?
Actually, hold on. Yeah, I do have a beer in the fridge.
Excuse me, miss. Can you grab me that beer?
Hey, so look, I'm drinking the PBR hard coffee that Sean told me about. That was the alcohol.
Sean loves that stuff. I actually tried it last weekend. It's not bad.
It's so good.
It's like Yoo-hoo, right?
I've never had a Yoo-hoo in my life.
Craziness.
Oh well, then you wouldn't know what to compare it to.
Yeah,
exactly.
Apparently, Yoo-hoo tastes like PBR from where we're, here.
Hey, so nice. There you go.
There it is. Nice.
Ooh, what are you drinking?
High alcohol stout.
I like it.
Wow.
And I have my Hott Lucy.
Yeah.
I have a
Very
Hott
cool.
Lucy.
I know you do.
Hey, so Doug's gonna pull up a couple pictures that we were showing the viewers earlier. You gotta check this out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was posting pictures of what we do in between sets.
Yeah. So there you are, Matt. That's Angela, your resident hairdresser, helping you out during a show.
Man, I need that right now.
Isn't that amazing? Look at that.
Ooh. Man, that's high dollar.
That is good
high
stuff,
dollar,
right?
For sure.
And look at this one. I like this pic. Look how you are a straight up rock star, man. Look at that.
That looks
Look
like
at that.
That's a good one, man.
That is good.
It is, dude. That's what I was saying earlier. When it comes to sex appeal, I mean, Fabio's got nothing on you.
Yeah, I just can't wait to maybe look good again. When we go to the gym, go to the tanning salon.
You said the tanning salon. Have you talked to? Do you guys have any gigs coming up? Have you talked to anybody? Because I saw some of these outdoor shows are like kind of people are trying to make it work.
Technically, Rock This Way was already booked this Friday at Midway Tab out in Newark. They have a outdoor thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still happening or not. I haven't heard. They haven't said it isn't. I haven't said it is.
Well, it's Tuesday. We are recording this on a Tuesday.
So fingers crossed.
I know. I think it'll come down to like whether it rains or not, or
yeah,
we'll wait and find out
that's
like
right.
if it's actually legal to do, and then it'll just be like a quick like release, like hey, and what else are people doing?
Yeah. I know. Well, I've seen I don't know if you saw Brad Moore did that drive-in concert at Flanagan's. That looked fucking awesome.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't think you could drink. They couldn't sell alcohol, but just people want to be out and fucking hear live music.
I know.
Yeah, I say we were talking, Matt, that Ugly Mug's got acoustic music scheduled Friday, Saturday, Sunday this weekend.
Is that right?
On their patio. So, weather permitting, obviously, but they're attempting to do it. And, for Matt, I mean, Josh, you'll agree with me on this. For Matt, there already is a 6-foot barrier set up for the women to keep the women under control. there's already like a...
Yeah, baby.
Josh has one to keep me from hitting over on his base area.
So they already have the security detail in place. So you're safe, Matt. No worries.
I love it. Hey, so Matt, so earlier we were talking about our affinity for Motley Crue and Vince Neil, and
I don't think Matt has an affinity.
And I know that you might not have Motley Crue tattoos on your arm or anything, but do you have any cool Motley or Vince Neil stories?
I love his recent stuff. The Wada or whatever, the Kickstart My Heart thing. Badass. My favorite. I did see him though. He opened up for Sammy. What? Were you guys there? Yeah. Were you there?
There you go, Matt. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the abominable snowman thing. Amazing.
I mean, look at him. It is so upsetting.
He's not even trying. That's awesome. He just doesn't give a shit. So.
That's what I said earlier. We were talking about they're talking about rescheduling the stadium tour, and that's what I said. Doug was saying, "Well, do you think he can do it?" I go, "He can do it because he doesn't give a shit."
Yeah, he just says, "I don't think he cares." Yeah.
Yeah, well, he hasn't sang in 20 years. I mean, I don't know. He's not losing his breath but look, I I loved Motley Crue, the first 2 albums.
Yeah.
Same.
I actually saw them open up for Ozzy at the Bark of the Moon down at Riverfront. And I was just excited to see them as Ozzy back then.
Yeah.
But they kind of lost me after Theater of Pain, man. And I think I was a little bit of a snob going on from like 85, 86 on. Like, I didn't get into the whole hair thing. But I do have a cool story about Bret Michaels.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I mean,
yeah, we were just talking about him too. Yeah.
Did you hook up with Bret Michaels?
I did. That was awesome. No, I used to work at this gym when I lived down in Charlotte, and they had the whole thing come through, and the gym owner, I was in a band down there, and he's like, hey, Bret Michaels is going to come in before, later today, and I want you to take him around and, in this gym and show him where everything's at and all that kind of stuff. And he knew I wasn't fanboy, so, because, and Bret Michaels came in, and he's like this little short dude. He had a bandana on his, of course, and I think some sweatpants on. He had like one of his bodyguard dudes. I don't know who he was.
Right.
But yeah, he was pretty cool. We walked around and, let him work out and do his thing and stay out of his way.
And he didn't ask you to rub him down or anything?
He didn't ask you to come play guitar?
Right. I wish. That would have been fun. But, I don't have any Motley Crue stories. I wish I did. I mean,
but that's amazing. So was he super nice? Was
it
weird?
He was cool.
Was everybody
he was just down to earth, no,
Was everybody else like geeked out about it?
There wasn't a whole lot of people in there at that time, and I think that's kind of why they picked it up when they did. So it was
makes sense.
There was probably people in there that didn't even know who the hell Poison was. They did some big meat heads and stuff up there.
Hey, so more importantly,
too busy looking in the mirror at themselves,
Yeah.
How much could Bret bench?
I don't know. Not much.
Two women at a time.
Right. That's all he needs to bench.
Exactly. Right. That's all I needed.
He's loving life.
I ain't mad at that at all.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Matt, I was we were going to ask you. We were chatting a little bit. You obviously been playing around Central Ohio and well beyond for a long time. We love telling funny stories, and they're obviously even to this day, I still walk away from gigs with funny stories. Like there's just the best people in the world, the most colorful characters in the world love rock and roll. No question about that. You go to a rock and roll show, you're going to see some crazy people, some funny people, very colorful characters. Anything stand out in your mind when you think about like some of the shows you played, like that just have always stuck in your mind when you and your buddies are hanging around telling stories, or you're laughing about, thinking about the things that you've done at gigs or seen at gigs that sticks in your mind? I really wanted to ask you about that.
I love the palm tree.
The good thing, yeah, man, I wish it was real.
No doubt.
One thing about me is I have a really bad memory, but there's a few things I remember. I was in when I lived in Charlotte, I was in an original country band.
Oh my God! What?
Yeah.
You heard it here first, Columbus, Ohio. Matt
Spoiler alert!
Oh, look at Get Out.
Spoiler alert!
Shit, I'm online. But no, it was an original country band, good band. Well, we had this gig and we didn't know who it was for. It was some kind of corporate gig, and we went to it and showed up and went out there and found out as we were walking on it was for Weight Watchers. And I mean, it's fine, but I think it must have been, and when it was packed.
I bet it was.
Packed in 3 people.
Right. We got to be good.
Attaboy.
I think it might have been like an introductory class because no one was watching the weight in there.
So what did you do? You just played songs, and what did they do?
I mean, they danced, and we kind of joked about that.
We're about to lose another sponsor, guys. We just lost another sponsor. Every week we lose a sponsor. We lost one.
I was thinking about that. We'll tell that story. And one of the funny recent one was I was playing with Rock This Way. We were out, and I was doing. They wanted me to do the Eddie eruption thing, and I did that. This younger girl came up and started yelling at me. She looked at Dave and Davey, and she was like, "Are you guys okay?" are you all right? And she's yelling at me. She's like, you're ruining everything. She thought that I was like doing this hostile takeover on the stage because I was playing the Van Halen thing.
Holy
She
crap.
probably didn't know. I think she just wanted to get back to the Bruno Mars song.
Where were you? Was this out in Newark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I still think that's one of the funniest things recently has happened. But yeah, of course we have people falling down drunk, and myself included. I've done that. I think I just did that not too long ago at the Turtle Creek. It wasn't that long ago. My brother had to catch me, I think.
Oh my God.
Stop it. We did I dressed up as Paul Stanley a couple times as Kiss and wore the boot, like the real boot.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, cool.
Took out my amp and everything.
People do not realize how difficult it is, especially to be in those high platforms. It's absolutely insanity.
I'm way more impressed by those guys on stage with that shit than
because it's no joke. That is an ankle breaker. They're literally like just roll your ankles.
You don't realize that when you walk, you might be moving your ankle a little bit anyway, but if you do that in those, you're gone. And once you start going, you can't stop it. You're out. So
I know it's another thing that you men don't realize how difficult it is for a chick to wear 5-inch heels up on stage, especially when I drink all night too. It's crazy.
I like being flat on the earth.
Yeah. So
what are some of your stories?
One I told earlier, actually,
more.
Before we got you on, one thing that I thought was funny was the time that you played with us, and you kept loading in your equipment. You kept bringing in more and more guitars, and I'm looking at Angie, and I'm like, man, why does he have so many goddamn guitars? And I finally asked you, and you're like, well, if you didn't have so many goddamn tunings, I wouldn't need 5 guitars. And here I am. I'm a dictator, and I'm like, hey, man, we don't take breaks, man. It's one song after another. And you're like, I have to change guitars every 2 fucking songs.
Right. Well, we're standard. We're tuned down here. We're on this. The stuff.
You had a blast, and you loved it.
I loved it. I'll do it again in a second.
Too.
Yeah,
anytime. Some White Lion.
Yeah, I love it.
Matt, did you ever...
I think one of our funniest, I think it's probably one of our funniest, maybe not our funniest because we've had a lot of funnies, but we played Turtle Creek. It was years ago. I think Jeff Framby's filled in for us on drums. I forget why. And filled in for us for drums. And there was a chick in the crowd, which being a female lead singer, I mean, as men, I know you guys have chicks falling all over you, but I have just as many women falling all over me. It's like kind of fun.
That's awesome.
So this chick is in the front and she is a disaster. And she's probably pushing 50. And she's like crying to me on the break, telling me, oh my God, this makes me think of spring break as a kid and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then she proceeds to flash us for the whole next set. So every 5 minutes, her big sloppy boobs are flying out. And John cannot focus on anything at all. So he's like a 14-year-old kid. So I'm like and she is just lifting it up every 5 minutes. And Framby's is like this, playing sideways, like trying to eyeball it. And it's hysterical. Same thing, it happened at Tommy O'Brien's too, some chick literally. And again, they're like 50-year-olds who are flashing their boobs.
The best part about the Framby's was that I was up on the riser there next to him, just kind of jamming a little bit as this is going on. And he looks up at me as he's playing. He's like, I like your band so much better than mine.
That's right. Even those boobs are better than no boobs at all, man. Any night of the week. Any night of the week.
You're doing it right.
You get boobs, you're doing it right. You got it.
But I do love such an authentic, I love when people have such a good time that even though I was hysterically laughing, I love that she was like, she thought it was 1989 and she was reliving. Exactly. It was freaking-tastic. It was awesome.
Matt,
did you ever, what you got, brother?
I was going to ask Matt, did you ever play down at the Pit Stop when it was open on off of Oakland Park?
You did, Bradley.
I did.
I know you did.
Yeah, that place was choice. I played there. I played, and actually, Ange and Josh, Neil and I played there together. I sent you guys a picture a few weeks ago.
Neil talks about the pit stop like it's the new port.
Yeah, he acts like the pit stop's the Whiskey a Go-Go.
It was one of those places. Matt, think like Breezers. Remember when Breezers used to be open out on the Far East side? I think it was on like Whitehall area. Like it was one of those bars where like you knew every time you walked in there, something was going to happen. Something was going to happen. Something unusual was going to happen.
Yeah. Huh? I don't remember that place. I remember One-Eyed Jack.
One-Eyed Jack's. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. But One-Eyed Jack's is actually right down the street from there. But so pit stop was off of Oakland Park.
Yeah.
And one night we played there. So along with Matt said, so me and Neil and a few other guys had a band for, I don't know, maybe a year, called the Thrillbillies, where we were rock and roll and country. So we did like hot country, like danceable hot, like rock and country and classic rock. So, we were doing Skinner and, whatever, all that kind of stuff.
You guys play any Bruce Springsteen?
We didn't play any Bruce Springsteen. No.
I would have rather,
We did not play any Bruce Springsteen. But anyways, so we're in there and we're loaded. And the worst part of the night was the loadout, because loadout was when everybody was outside and like something's gonna fucking go down. It always did. And we're out there and my wife Renee's with me and a couple of our friends, and this guy pulls out of the parking lot and he's just shit-faced drunk, and he comes to a complete stop right in front of the door, and another car pulls up behind him and he puts his car in reverse instead of drive. And he backs into the car behind him. Well, the car behind him was full of drug dealers, and they were not happy. So they get out of the car, they pull him out of his car, beat him down, and then the cops. So there are Neil can vouch for this. There were cops that sat like a half a block away in these little parking like drive outs, because they knew that shit was going to go down. They're waiting for people to come out of there drunk or a fight to break out. So as soon as that starts happening, you see two cop cars pull around the corner, and this car, the drug dealer's car, had guns, drugs. I mean, it was a scene, man. Like, I mean, we had just gone off stage 10 minutes before that. Like, I was going out to get unlock my car to start loading my gear in, and it happened right outside the fucking door. It was crazy. We still talk about that to this day, because I had a handful of friends that were there and they'd never been there before. I'm like, it's cool. It'll be all right. So.
Thank God. The only time I played there it was a benefit, and it was on a Sunday afternoon.
Perfect.
So
yeah. Okay.
I didn't get that part, but we did play. Speaking of this shithole, wait, should I say that?
You can say shithole.
Shannon, is it Shannon's Pub? What's it called now? Shannon's Pub over on the west side.
I don't know.
We don't know a whole lot about the west side.
It's called Shakers now.
Shakers.
Oh.
Yeah, right by the casino there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Before it was Shake. Did we play there with Shakers? Or was it? Okay, yeah. Anyway, I played there with Shannon's Pub or with Shakers. And I just remember, like, when you had to load out there, first of all, the place smelled like a urinal. The whole place. And then when you walk out, you got to make sure you park your car right by the door and have somebody watching, so as you load in, some
tree cutter
stealing your shit. I mean, that's scary shit, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
I don't like that kind of scene.
No, me neither. But it was what it was.
We're not trying to make it to the big time. We don't need to be playing those kind of dives,
That's right.
We went to the pit stop once, and who was that we saw?
We went to see King
Darwin. King Darwin.
Oh,
the pit stop.
Where are they from?
We get
up north, Mount Vernon, I think.
Mount Vernon, yeah.
Yeah.
So we went because Adam Taylor is in that. He's a great guitarist.
Yeah, he's a solid number 3 behind you, and then Eddie.
So we went to see them at the pit stop.
He's got big arms too.
And it was our first time going. And literally, this was only, I'm telling you, like, it was one of those, you walked in and everybody stopped what they were doing and looked at you, but not in an inviting, friendly way. And I mean, everyone was pissed and angry, like as if we walked into somebody's family room.
Yeah.
And so I'm nervous. Plus, of course, I'm in like a fur coat, like,
that might have had something to do with it. Yeah, you walked in pink high heels and a fur coat.
And one of our friends, he was actually, we knew somebody that was there, so we were almost thankful because we like kind of knew somebody. And then a dude came in on a skateboard with no like. Are you not, Jimmy?
We're about to get another social class that's not going to be our sponsor.
We had some questionable skateboarders.
We're losing another
That
sponsor.
were missing limbs that came in.
Questionable skateboarders. You know it's a problem when you pull up to the venue and there's no windows. As soon as you pull up to a place with no windows, you just fucking turn around, man.
Yeah, right. That's a gravel parking lot, no windows, man.
But they were a good band, though.
Yeah.
They sounded good.
Yeah.
That place isn't open anymore.
No, it closed. It closed actually not too long after that happened. To be honest with you.
Well,
it's closed. I didn't even know it was closed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it closed a while ago. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. We got to wrap it up for time wise. Matt, every week we do a shout out to like local businesses or local people that we know that are, keeping the wheels turning with all this craziness going on. Anybody you want to send a shout out to this week, ma'am?
I hadn't thought about it, but next time I'm on, I'll think of it.
All right, cool, man. Hey, I'll tell you what. We'll give you one of Angela's. Have you ever been to Mi Tradicion in Gahanna?
Yeah.
Have you ever had a 32-ounce to-go margarita?
I love Firehouse Subs. Shout out to Firehouse Subs.
What do you get? What's your go-to?
Oh, and the blue ginger.
Oh yeah,
Asian food.
See?
Yeah. What about for Firehouse? What's your go-to? What do you get?
Man, the steamer.
That's what I get,
dude.
I freaking love that, dude.
Oh fucking.
That sounds like a.
It sounds gross, but it's just it's.
I know, right? It's not a Cleveland steamer. It's the New York steamer, or is this?
Yeah. But no, it's super good, dude. Like and blue ginger, I've never been, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, I mean, I got their go-to with the chicken pot thai, super spicy.
God,
is that the blue ginger up on Sawmill?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's not too far from where we live. I've driven past there before. Yeah. Right near Sawmill 161.
I mean, it seems like a tradition to go in there on Christmas or something.
Yeah. That's awesome. And who are you gonna give a shout out to this week?
This week, I am gonna give a shout out to. Here in Gahanna, there's an Italian restaurant. It's across the street. It's called Lola's and Giuseppe's. It is literally the best fucking Italian food, bar none, to anybody. I mean, but it is. It's in a little strip mall. It's by the Gahanna Pizza Plus. It's in a little strip mall. It's a tiny little place, but the food is ridiculous. It's, I mean,
who is it?
Anything. What?
What's the name of it?
Lola and Giuseppe's.
Lola and Giuseppe's. All right.
I think the Van Meters have been there. I think Rachel Van Meter loves it. So it is yummy, delicious, so good.
Love Italian food.
It's our favorite Italian in town by far.
Yes, let's all go.
They make their own limoncello in house.
Oh, nice.
They always have a seafood special, very limited menu, but again, that's because you're getting the good shit.
I think it's better than like Brio.
Any chain
Italian
place,
yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
My shout out this week goes to Giant Eagle because they're the only ones who carried my PPR hard coffee. I went to 3 goddamn Krogers and none of them had it. So my shout out goes to Giant Eagle because corporate America.
Yeah.
And we just lost Kroger as a sponsor. So thank you, Josh. I was this close to landing that, man. This close. They were going to throw in some big bucks. We lost it.
I love it. That. How about you, Doug?
I'm going to shout out to, I mentioned before, Corso Ventures that owns Urban Meyer's Pine House, Standard Hall, Food Hall, Forno, some of those places down the short north.
Corso owns everything.
Yeah, he does. He partnered together with Urban Meyer, and they're doing a project. I posted it on the Rock House page a few weeks ago. Where they're doing a project where they're going to feed, I believe it was 100,000 homeless people in Columbus. So every Thursday, they get people together down at Food Hall in the Short North, and they put together meals for the homeless and feed them. So I'm going to shout out to Corso Ventures. So that's Urban Meyer's Pine House, Short North Pine House, Food Hall, Standard Hall, and Forno in the Short North for helping out with that homeless, feeding the homeless here in Columbus during the crisis here. So.
That's awesome.
Good. Yeah.
Hung out on that flamingo at Standard Hall after the Sebastian show.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right. Yeah, that was at Goody Boy. He actually owns that too. A Goody Boy.
Dude, Goody
Drive-In,
Boy,
yeah.
whole other story. Adult
Whole
juice
other
boxes,
story.
the greatest.
Hey, Matt, thank you so much for joining us, man. I look forward to seeing you play again, hopefully soon, man. I look forward to see all you guys.
You can come over here and play on
The
patio.
Yacht Rock Pavilion, baby.
We put a beach in, so we have sand and everything now. It's nice.
Do you have masks and hand sanitizer?
I do.
We do.
Good. I won't wear it.
Well, I don't wear them either. But
How do you feel about clown masks? Because that's all they have.
Yeah, that would be. I'd be fine with that.
We have a
That
Jason. Jason Voorhees mask, and we have a dragon mask, I think, too.
And we have a unicorn head.
We do have a unicorn head too.
Dude, I mean, that would be. Everybody should start showing up in stores that are, mandating this shit with some, scream masks. And
Of course, yeah.
Mask is a mask, right?
I might wear my unicorn head now that you mention it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're stopping your sneezes. So whatever. I don't want to get into that. We don't get political here. We might lose sponsors.
Yeah. We're all about the sponsors.
Right.
God.
Matt, thanks so much, dude. We love you, brother.
Thank you, Matt.
Part of it,
Thanks,
man. Thank
man.
you.
All right, take it easy, buddy.
Peace, brother. Thank you.
Turn this thing off.
All right, guys. It's good to see you guys. Let's wrap up this episode.
Excellent.
We'll thank you guys for joining us on our for the watch party, and we will see you all again very, very soon.
Bingo!
Bingo!